Giants fan, but it was disappointing, especially in that first half. Thanks a lot for your time, my friend.
Good to be on with you guys there. I see, Peter, I heard you have a rumor you have a date tomorrow with a blonde married woman, I heard?
No.
Bears fan.
Definitely not.
That's what I heard. That's
an erroneous legal word.
It's trending.
It's an erroneous rumor.
It's trending.
No.
Rumor has
it's not trending. There's no rumor out there. I'm single. I'm happy to be single, and I'm doing the sports web. Listen, if I had to listen to that, bro, I'll be single for the rest of my life. With that being said, go ahead, Drew. Talk about the Giants, you damn freaking goofball, you.
First off, there is a rumor because I started it.
That's how the Legends roll.
That's how I roll. Exactly. So yeah, you guys got to be in a better mood than I am right now. I can imagine.
We are. I mean, we're out here at Ferg's. We like you to come out next week if you like to. We had plenty of wings, plenty of atmosphere, plenty of football fans. And plenty of first downs by that Tampa Bay Buccaneer team in the first half. I mean, what did you think of that first half? Tommy DeVito, obviously not the quarterback answer. They've got talent, man. I don't know if it's coaching. I don't know what it is, but you'll break down that first half for me as being a Giants fan, what you saw.
So, I mean, the first half, there's obviously a lot of rust on Tommy DeVito. He hasn't played since last year. But the biggest thing for me is, to be very frank, I'm done with the coach. I'm done with Brian Daboll. This was the game that ended any faith I had in this guy whatsoever. And there's two plays that really come to mind that really ended it all for me. One, you got the play where he went ahead and tried for on 4th and 1 on, I believe, with their second drive on offense. That's all. They're at the 40-yard line.
Yes.
I mean, that's ridiculous. Why would you do that? And then what you do is instead you have a rookie running back who's averaging 5 yards a carry. 5 yards a carry. And you have a quarterback who's mobile. And what do? You get a 185-yard receiver to do an end around right in between the guard and the tackle. Do you think that's going to get you a first down? It wasn't 4th and inches. It was 4th and long and 1 at that point.
Yes.
The kind of long one that Juan was looking for a minute ago. But, I mean, that's a long one at that point there.
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. I don't understand the play call at that point. The Bucs are able to stop them. They're able to get that momentum.
It was 7-0. It wasn't like the game was out. It was 7-0. The game was not out of reach.
Oh, second drive, like you said, Drew. And the thing is that I want to say that Daboll outthinks himself, but at the end of the day, I also think that he wants to be that flashy coach that goes forward on 4th down from his own side of the 50 just because it's early and he feels his team can ball. But I think the reason why you're saying you've now lost complete confidence is he's just not crossing T's and dotting I's on the little things, the confidence and things like that.
Yeah, that's 100% what it is. And then the second play was the fumble at the 1st and goal at the 5-yard line. Mm-hmm. I mean, why would you put the offense finally clicking for the very first time all game? It's finally clicking, and what you do, you go, oh, let's just put DeVito out as a wide receiver, and we'll put a wildcat offense and have 2 running backs back there. Like, you don't have to go cute like that. It's working. It's working at that time. There was no reason to do that. Those 2 plays alone. Let's say, for example, that the Giants, don't give the defense the ball in bad position at that point there if they punt it instead of going on 4th and 1. That was 3 points the Bucs got right there. The Giants are now plugging away at that one drive. Let's say they got the 7 points there. That's a 10-point swing in that game, guys, right there. Those 2 plays potentially.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think you take some positives out of this game. The young rookie, Malik Nabers, he showed out today, had some big-time catches. You like to get him more involved. Tommy DeVito goes out in the game. Drew Lock comes in. So you're kind of wondering, could they make a quarterback change? Because it wasn't good for DeVito today, but it was very good for Nabers. Talk about that young rookie in Nabers.
I mean, he's been a stud all year long. Deal with the debacle of having Daniel Jones as your quarterback for the last games, and now you go and having debacle of having, 38 passing yards in the first half, I think it was, or something like that, by DeVito. Nabers is a stud. The kid is point blank one of the best wide receivers in the league already as a rookie. Got a little bit of an issue with the drops occasionally, but that'll get fixed, I think, over time there. But it's to him to have the success he's having, along with Tyrone Tracy Jr. as well, the rookie running back. But those 2 kids both to have the success they're having with the offensive line issues, with the quarterback issues, is absolutely amazing. And I think they both deserve a lot of credit for what they're doing given the circumstances. But at the same point, I talked a minute ago about how losing faith in Daboll. Those two guys are, I think, what makes this a very attractive position if they do fire Daboll and do fire Joe Shane, the GM, and start fresh and new. You have a team here that has an offensive line that's been played better. I mean, this obviously they have both tackles out for this game, so that caused issues. But you have an offensive line that's played better for the beginning part of this year before the injuries hit. You have the best rookie wide receiver in the NFL. You have the best rookie running back at the best rookie running back at the in the NFL as well. There's tools. There's things there. What you don't have is the quarterback. But it looks like we're going to have a top pick. I'm hoping Cam Ward is going to be a Giant when it's all said and done. We'll find out there. But we have the good pick. We have the good running back. We have the good wide receiver. We have an improved offensive line. This, I still think, is a team that is set if it just had a good quarterback.
It's true. Does Belichick going back to New York work for you? Is that a narrative that you've allowed yourself to go down that road and think about it? And if that were to happen, would that be something? How do you think that would work with Mara and what he's willing to do for a coach? And would he get control there?
So John Mara is actually a lot more hands-off, I think a lot of people give him credit for. Right. You watch Hard Knocks, he was suggesting he wanted to keep Saquon, upset that Saquon was going to leave potentially. And look what happened. He let the GM do his thing. What I personally called for today actually was I want Joe Shane and Brian Daboll both to be fired. I want Mike Vrabel to come in as the coach, and I want Bill Belichick to go ahead and get a position in the front office. Kind of like what Tom Coughlin did a few years ago with the Jaguars and had that kind of role. I think that's the perfect role for him. I think it's 72, 73, whatever he is. I know he's got this 25-year-old girlfriend trying to keep him young here, but I mean, you can't rebuild with a coach that old. You're going to have a year or two before you're good. So what, he's going to retire right as you're getting good? That's not what we...
It's a good point, and I'll tell you right now, we're on with Andrew, the Two Giant Goofballs podcast. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Best of the Bays, Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy here live from Ferg Sports Bar and Grill. In the what district?
Ferg's is down here on Central Avenue, just below 16th Street in the Edge district.
Love it right there. And, I think Belichick, as far as, player development, if he's a coach, I'm fine with that. But if he's wanting full control, which you believe that Belichick wants, I'm not in favor of that. And I don't think the Giants situation works out. Liam Cohen has been talked about in NFL circles being a hot candidate, offensive-minded coach. You go with Brian Daboll. Can you see them going defensive? Can you see them going with the Deion Sanders, trying to get him as an NFL coach so you could draft his son, Shedeur Sanders? I mean, what's your wish list right now if you're a Giants fan? What are you hearing from Giants fans of what they would want?
Well, yeah, the fan base is pretty split as far as Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward. I think Cam Ward is probably the favorite of the two, currently at least. I think that, Deion Sanders is a pipe dream in my mind. Deion Sanders hates New York. There's issues going back to his days as a New York Yankee. He does not like New York as a whole.
Oh, wow.
So I don't think that's going to happen. I think if Shedeur goes there, and it's part of the baggage you're going to have in that scenario. And that's the biggest concern I have with Shedeur Sanders is his mental makeup. There's been issues. Obviously he had an issue with the ref yesterday against Kansas. He had the issue where he refused to shake one of the opposing quarterback's hands and stuff like that. There's enough issues that you go, is there a personality concern there? And I'm not saying there isn't. I don't know the kid personally. But I think with him, the biggest thing is going to be the interview process. I think it's more important with him than it is with anybody else right now.
Hey, Drew, I'll throw this at you. The thing about him, too, is you guys just got through with an experiment at quarterback that wasn't a leader on that team. You need your next quarterback to be, if nothing else, a leader and also a good quarterback.
Well, I'll say this. DJ, for all his faults, actually is a leader. That's the one thing I will give him. That kid is a leader. If you look at the way the team talked about him after benching, not a single person bashed him. Many people actually were upset and were very vocal about being upset about him being gone from the team there and the way he was treated by being a scout team safety earlier this week and everything before he got cut. He's just not a good quarterback. That's what it boils down to. He can't read defenses. He can't go through his progressions. If you can't do those two things, you're in trouble. And those things you can't teach. You either have that skill or you don't.
You like how his agent, the minute he gets cut, they put out there, Kansas City and the Ravens are looking at him as a backup. And I'm like, remember, this is the guy that couldn't get it done when he had all the time in the world to be ready in New York to be the starter. You really want to tell me he's going to be a backup or a third string or emergency COVID quarterback for a playoff team? That's a stretch, isn't it?
Well, I would say this, and I think Andrew would agree. The Giants, as an organization, haven't done a good enough job to put the pieces around him. They really stunted his growth. And a lot of people will talk about the turnover situation, which is a fair point. But I always look at the organization overall. What did they put around him? What kind of an offensive line? What kind of weapons? Did they put a running game around him? Did they continue to switch offensive coordinators and coaches? And when you put all that together, that's the reason why you have Jones in his stunted growth. Do you agree with that?
I would agree with that, but I also think the big thing is that he had some pieces around him too. Again, he had a better offensive line this year than usual. He had Malik Nabers this year. He had Tyrone Tracy this year. He's got some pieces around him. He had Saquon in the past. They brought in Kenny Golladay. Obviously, that didn't work out very well, but they did try that in the past. I just think that you look at this kid overall, he's just not good enough. And we all want him to be. If anybody has ever got a chance to sit down and talk to this guy, has said nothing but amazing things about Daniel Jones. He's a great guy overall. He's that guy, if you had a daughter, you'd want your daughter to find a guy like him. He's that kind of guy. Right. First guy in the building, last guy to leave. Everything you want from a quarterback mentally like that.
Well, Drew, can I ask you a question?
Talented.
I want to, if I can ask you, so look, you're being a Giants guy, but also, knowing the Buccaneers the way you do because you hang out with us, which means you know a lot about the Buccaneers. Was there anything about the Buccaneers' performance against your Giants? Because everyone says, well, keep in light, it's the Giants. And I say this is still an NFL team any given Sunday. It's why they play the game. Anything the Buccaneers did against the Giants today you didn't see coming, or the Buccaneer fans can go, yeah, hey, that was kind of neat.
Yeah, I mean, the defense, obviously, for you guys. I didn't expect that at all. I don't know how much of that was your defense, how much was our offense. But, I went into this game saying that this would have to be probably a decent scoring game. The Bucs, like we said, average about 27 points a game. They got 30 on us at that point there, so you can figure that's about average.
Yes.
And if you look at the fact that the defense was basically on the field the entire game, where your Bucs offense just was on the field nonstop because our offense couldn't do anything, that's somewhat of an okay performance, I think, by the defense to a certain degree. They're a bend but don't break defense that we have here with the Giants. It's not the yards that matter, it's the points. But when it boils down to it, I did not see whatsoever as far as what happened with our Giants offense having trouble against your Bucs defense.
Was this the bottom of the barrel for you guys? I mean, you said you made the point and great points as to why you're done with Brian Daboll. The experiment was going to come in here. Was Daniel Jones going to be the next Josh Allen? Was this the bottom basement for Giant fans? You've had some big rough knocks over the last few years. The Saquon thing obviously hurting a lot, but this is the bottom of the barrel right here, the offensive performance. But your team didn't quit, though, too. So on the same token, or the other side of the coin, wasn't there also some things to take away positive from this game from a Giants fan standpoint?
Well, we hit rock bottom. We lost against the Panthers there in Germany. I mean, let's be honest. Losing to the Panthers is about a rock bottom.
Panthers almost beat the Chiefs today. They took them to the last minute. The Chiefs only won.
That's what the Chiefs do. The Chiefs play close everybody. That's just the Chiefs.
I think they do it.
Yeah, like we call that in our pick show. I said the Chiefs would not beat the spread in that game because it's just the way the Chiefs are. They play very close games. They somehow win. Whether it's through paying off the refs or Taylor Swift doing a solo concert real quick, I don't know. But, they always tend to find a way to win. But, what it boils down to it is you lose to the Panthers. There's no going down further than that. So we're already at the rock bottom. At this point here, half the fans want to tank and get the quarterback. I'll never say I'm pro the tank, but I'm not upset if it happens either because there's still a positive no matter what.
If you get it
right. All right. I'll tell you what, let's go out to the phone lines. This man right here has been trying to call up Mr. Williams. Welcome to the evolution of sports talk television. What's up?
My man. What's happening? How's everybody?
I'm good now.
We're doing great, man. We're live here at Ferg's. Yes. You should come down next week. We'll get Harry to come down here with some wings for you. How about that?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about because I'll be home next week.
Okay.
I'll be home my next game, Harry.
There you go, Harry. He called you out. You got to be down here at Ferg's or get ready to pay those wings off, right, Mr. Williams?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
All right.
Man, I'll be in Tampa next week, man.
All right. So what did you think of the Bucs game today, Mr. Williams?
Hey, man, today we played like we really needed to play. And I really think, if my defense keeps swarming like they did, we're going to have a chance to make a run towards the playoffs. Man.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that. That was surprising. Playoffs, 4 sacks in the game.
Playoffs.
In that first half there. Kalijah Cansey, Vita Vea, Yaya, and
Oh,
Anthony
yeah.
Nelson.
Oh, yeah.
Impressive.
And one thing I can say, I am proud of number 31 because he came from out of middle of nowhere and he got him a sight. I say he's back.
Antoine Winfield Jr.?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's my man.
I know that is your man. And
Tristan took him for MVP of the game before
He did.
pregame.
He absolutely did.
And he flashed a bit. He flashed, but the rest of the defense flashed even brighter.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, man. Canty done his job, man, and I like the young man, you know, and I like the way my corners was up on these receivers.
Yep.
And I hope my head coach keep it coming.
Yeah, I mean, Andrew, you could talk about that. That was one of my big keys to the game. And hold on, Mr. Williams. Sterling Shepard showed out today, made some plays.
Oh, yeah. Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
In the game. Andrew, talk about Shepard a little bit.
Well, Shepard was, like we said on our show prior to it, that he's kind of like the anti-Saquon. When Saquon came back to the, to MetLife Stadium, he was booed like you wouldn't believe. And I get the hate there to a certain degree. I don't to other degrees, but that's a whole other topic of the day. Sterling Shepard is a guy that's highly, highly thought of, not just by Giants fans, but the Giants organization as a whole. He's a guy that I guarantee you when he's done and ready to hang it up, he will be a wide receivers coach for the New York Giants in some way, shape, or form. It's just the way that organization
Yes, sir.
There's certain guys they just love. Sterling Shepard's one of them. He's a guy that unfortunately gets injury after injury after injury after injury. But you know what happened every time he got injured? He stayed around the facility. He stayed around the team. He supported his teammates in every single way he possibly could. He mentored all the young guys that were coming in and out of this team. This is a team that, like I said, they nothing but great things about this guy, and rightfully so. And I'm glad to see him playing, seeding somewhere. I really am. But
at the end of the day, I'm gonna take my hat off to number 7.
Okay. Bucky
I'm
Irving.
gonna take my hat off to number 7, Bucky. That's my guy. He ran real good today.
That he did. And the most exciting play of the game there, the 56-yard run, the longest for this Bucs team with Baker Mayfield down there with the blocking.
But yeah, man. Baker did that, man. Let's salute him, man. He done a good job.
Yeah. He's done a great job with all the injuries, Mr. Williams. We appreciate the call. Use that second call if you like to. We'll see you next week, okay?
Yes, sir.
Get down here
all right,
first.
Man. Number love, man. Hey. Tell Harry I'll see him soon.
All right. We'll
take care, Mr. Williams.
Let's talk about that, Drew. You talk about Tyron Tracy, who's been very impressive, but the Bucs were able to, contain him today. Talk about Bucky Irving. How surprised were you by his performance today versus the Giants?
So I got to disagree with you there, respectfully, Peter. I don't think that Tyrone Tracy Jr. was stifled by the Bucs whatsoever. He just didn't get a lot of time to actually run the ball. He got 9 carries and 42 yards in the game. I mean, that's not a bad average. And Bucky, to be honest with you, I thought he did about what I expected. I think his numbers are definitely a little bloated because of that one run. If you take out that one run, he had 11 carries for 31 yards. The Giants' defense is not a good run-stopping defense. And the fact that they had held them to that point, I take that actually as a win for the Giants' defense overall, because you can't count on every single week a guy getting a 56-yard run. That's not normal. You got one bad play. You take that out, and he's got 11 carries, 31 yards. That's less than 3 yards a carry.
But then you look at what he does in the passing game here, also very effective, 6 catches for 64 yards. Mm-hmm. So once again, he's multidimensional, and I think he's the number one back for this Bucs team going forward. And again, for me, when you shut down a running back and you hold him under 100 yards, you did your job. And this Bucs team has not really been able to do that consistently, although did a good job last week versus Christian McCaffrey. But we've also seen the other side of the coin where running backs go for 100 yards, you eat up clock and things like that. Give me some final thoughts here, Drew, of the 2 Giant Goofballs on this Bucs win and Giants loss here today.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing is it's a tale of 2 different cities here, really, you look at the Bucs and what they're dealing with right now. Obviously you guys are basically like an average team in the NFL that are looking to ascend like you did last year at the last minute there, so to speak, and do your thing and get everything rolling. The rest of your schedule, you got the Panthers, the Raiders, the Chargers, the Cowboys, the Panthers again, the Saints. I mean, you guys could be on a run here. You can go on a 5-1, even like I say, a 4-2 run real quick and get into the playoffs to sneak in kind of like you did last year. Some of that's going to be dependent on what the Falcons do the rest of the way, obviously, as well. But, that's where it's really at that point there. Then you look at the Giants, and their schedule is the complete difference at that point there. The Giants definitely have a rougher schedule than the Bucs do going forward. So we got the Cowboys next week, who, again, not near as tough as they've been in the past, but the Cowboys have had the Giants' numbers for the last decade, it feels like. Then you got the Saints, who just beat us last year. Then we got the Ravens, the Falcons, the Colts, the Eagles. It's like one team's trying to get to the playoffs. One team is probably securing a top 2 pick at that point to get one of those 2 quarterbacks. And, both them pros and cons,
Absolutely. Go ahead and promote yourself here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television.
Yeah, so I'm one of the co-hosts of Two Giant Goofballs. We're a New York Giants-based podcast/vodcast, whatever you want to call it nowadays. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch. We're also on all the audio podcasts as well. So we go live every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We also do post-game coverage. And for all of those that aren't maybe not Giants fans, we also do picks every Thursday night there as well. Obviously not this week. It's Thanksgiving. The Giants are playing, and do a recap shows on Mondays. We don't just talk Giants, and we do things all throughout the year, free agency coverage, draft coverage, way beyond just the Giants as well. So again, it's just Two Giant Goofballs, all the major social media contacts there.
Drew, tell me about that man cave facility you have going on over there. You got some nice Giants merch on the wall.
I'd even break out the Flavor Flav here at this point.
Yeah,
Flavor Flav.
Listen, we got stuff. I don't have everything up here is the scary part. I got stuff everywhere at that point. Even if you look at the where my mouse and my keyboard is on, is a Giants thing as well. It's like, and it's funny because I've actually called today publicly for a banning of buying anything Giants related right now until the Giants get their shit together because they're so tired.
You wouldn't be wrong in that assertion. You got to figure out what you're going to do with Brian Daboll. I think Brian Daboll has the capacity to go on a run, but he does not have control of his team. I don't want to say he lost his team because the team hasn't really lost. They still didn't quit in some weird shape or form. But, yeah, he's not shining at all. He doesn't seem like he's got those guys ready to run through a wall for him. So I think coach change might be exactly what's on the docket for those New York Giants.
We'll see what
changed, though, too. I mean, look at the way he was talking about Saquon and the Hard Knocks, publicly talking bad about – you don't publicly talk bad about a player. Then you got the whole, again, Daniel Jones fiasco this week. We had the bye week, same as you guys last week. Don't tell me the Giants just figured out on Monday they were going to cut Daniel Jones. The conversation should have been had the second we lost to the Carolina Panthers, saying, let's talk to your agent. Let's sit down. This isn't working. We're going to move on. And you could have done it in a respectful way, had a press conference, let him say his goodbye like he did, and say, out of respect for Daniel Jones, everything he's done in the last 5.5 years, because, again, not a great quarterback, but the kid has busted his butt for this team, point blank. You could have said, you know what? We're going to release him, let him catch up with the team, let him make a chance to rebuild his career, and we're both going to move on together that way. So but instead, no. They put him out there. Again, the scout team safety he was on I think, Tuesday.
Out on a third field.
Yeah.
with a jug machine. But, Andrew, and here's the thing. You made a point right there, and I'm going to let you go on this, but you said the Buccaneers want to buy – the Giants want to bye week just like the Buccaneers were. But what you guys had to go through in the media light, especially there in New York City last week, you guys really weren't on a bye week. The Bucs did have their vacation, and that's also, I think, what showed on the field today in that Buccaneers performance against those New York Giants. Brother, thanks for joining us tonight, Andrew. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you, Andrew, the Legion.
Coming down for some wings next time.
Yes. All right, good stuff there. Let's go back out to the comments, and then we will wrap this puppy up for the night here. Over 2 hours. Yeah. Commercial free with plenty of entertaining commentary when it comes
and
to.
Here's the thing I want to make a point. Anyone who's watching the show this late, until you've seen, remember, I won Best of the Bay 2019 Best Local Columnist right here in Tampa Bay. I write. You ain't seen me do a commercial read until you've gotten on board as a sponsor here in the Sports Web for our Buccaneer game day, pregame, halftime, and postgame shows live from Ferg. So
live from Ferg.
You want to see me? Someone out there make a payment. The $25 Peter, take him in DMs. $25 to Mr. Peter Blake's thing. We'll do a read for your business, and we'll call it a test. You tell us after that if we deserve a sponsorship, and then y'all can start really calling our people.
A little bit more than that. But we got some rates.
No,
so we'll talk. You inbox me if you're interested.
I'm doing it there. $25.
You be quiet. How about that? All right, so it was a good thought process, though. Russ says, Peter Blake, very talented. Thank you, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
One of the main web heads of the show from the very beginning. Can people hear your broadcast at first? To a certain degree, they can. We don't have the speakers, but we could bring the speakers out here, Russ.
Peter, the thing is not that they don't want our show.
Right.
They do. But you've got all the audio from all the games. And here for Buccaneers games, here's the best thing about it. The one, whether it's TJ McNew or TJ Mack, every time.
Or TJ Reeves.
Or TJ.
The media icon.
Or TJ Reeves.
Yes.
Every commercial, there's great banging music, and it's on whatever was going on, the vibe that's going on in here.
Sure.
At one point, it was, who was it again? Pony by
Genuine Pony.
And
yes.
that was like this soul-based bump. And even the Giants fans were dancing, and Bucs fans and the Giants were getting their butts kicked. And then when the game comes back on, literally they get fined a little bit every time that the commercial break and the music don't mix perfect. So they're not only taking care of you watching a game in one of these hundreds of televisions, they're also controlling the flow. And that's one of the reasons why coming out here is Bury the Lead.
Love it.
One of the best places.
Great stuff and great wings, great food, great atmosphere. It really is.
Got to get Harry's wing.
There you go. All right, so got to. All right, don't worry about it. We have the same issues as Evans not getting the credit till Tom Brady came around. So we'll take Malik half his career until he gets noticed to laugh out loud. Good stuff, Sean. Thank you for the comment. Ross says Bucs should take a look at LSU quarterback for the future to learn from Baker. I'm not high on who you're talking about. I know you're an SEC honk, but I don't think he's a great quarterback by any means.
He can pitch the biscuit, but I don't know. I haven't seen his leadership.
He ain't no Jaden Daniels, that's for sure.
No.
And I think the young quarterback is on this team eventually, and it's going to surprise you. It's not Kyle Trask. It's actually Michael Pratt, who even Jason Light admitted to our own J.C. Allen of Sports Illustrated he wanted to draft, and the Packers got him instead, and now he's on the practice squad. So be watching for that in the future. Baker's an animal with his blocking. Kid has heart, shows game after game that he is the guy for us. Agree, Sean. Woo! Again, Sean coming strong to the mic as always. Russ, Brady Cook, Missouri quarterback, good for the Bucs, getting third or fourth round. MH says Fireballs. I don't know where that's from, MH. JTS going out and nobody notices. He's not good. We noticed it, but I didn't even know if he played or not until he went out with the ankle injury. So
yeah, well, that's
Russ says Bucky is another work done.
Yeah, we talked
Sir
about
Foul
that.
Baller or Sir Foul Player of Brooklyn says, I thought this was our best shot at a win for the rest of the season. Thanks a lot for the comment. Giants fan. Bucks. He is a Giants fan. I said that. Yeah. Bucks 9 wins possible. I said 11, possibly 10. We'll see. Andrew, if Bucky didn't have that big run, he would have 31 yards. If my aunt had, she would have been my uncle. Come on, man.
It's a game of inches.
We don't judge your family tree. Nick says, you really think Sanders can help save this team with Daboll and Joe at the helm?
Jesus Christ couldn't save this team with Daboll.
It depends on his mental makeup. It's the one thing we can tell by watching tape. The interview process is so key for him. Absolutely is. If he doesn't have a great interview, then a lot of teams will shy away from drafting him. It's happened. And maybe to a fault, because sometimes they look too much at the interview. But character is a big time deal.
Character's my number one. It's Jason Light's number one.
Right. And how you hold yourself as a quarterback. And I always say this, you're not just looking at a quarterback that can make all the throws and go through his progressions. Yes, that's a part of it. What you want for a quarterback to be a franchise is if you go to that bad franchise and you face adversity, how can he come out of it? We saw that with Caleb Williams, and that's what Harry's talking about. He's performed well, even under pressure. I know the record is not indicative of that, but he has. So that's a good thing. He didn't crumble. That's the one thing a lot of general managers and owners are looking at when they draft a young quarterback. Got to keep it rolling. Let's go, Bucks. Let's go! Great show, guys. Until next week, good night, fellas. Good night to you. Thank you for tuning in. As always, Christopher Cole. If any of our fellow Goofballs watching want to support the Sports Web, subscribe at www.youtube.com.
Put my YouTube page in
the
there
Sports
too.
Web. Yes, and then Shane is a smug bum. respectfully, I wouldn't let him pick Drapes, let alone our next quarterback. Good comment there. Thank you for that.
Oh, yeah.
Appreciate it. Two Giant Goofballs says, agreed, sir. Foul player. Final thoughts here on the evolution of Sports Talk Television, live from Fergs after the Bucs pick up a big victory over the New York Giants, 30-7.
We've been doing this a while. I've been third time's a charm, doing this a while. We've had those days where we had to go live after a game we shouldn't have lost. In fact, I remember a Giants game that we shouldn't have lost. And we've gone live after games, so we've had great days. Today was a great day, but it was because coming back from the bye week, you see what this team does, getting a little bit healthy, and you still see they're so committed to every little bit of detail out there, and I think that's going to play large as we go through the rest of the season, because they really do have to go next game's the most important game because to avoid that trap game.
Just sub. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate it. Nick says, I agree. Total reset is needed. It's the way of the National Football League. If you don't have a quarterback, you go nowhere. Right now, it looks like the Giants don't have a quarterback.
Well, don't forget, it's the number one market in the world.
Correct.
Right? And Bill Belichick.
Lots of pressure.
Bill Belichick, there should be a statue. There's probably he's a saint in New York. They've actually he's got sainthood there.
Right.
If you're going to do, and you don't want to call it an experiment, you're going to go all in. But even if it doesn't work, you brought home a hometown kid. But if he was the general manager, as Drew was saying, right?
Yeah.
Would that give him time to also be broadcasting a little bit?
Bill Parcells is not walking through that door, but I understand where you're going with the Bill Belichick because he was a defensive coordinator. He's a defensive-minded coach. We'll see where he goes in the offseason when it all is said and done. Bucs need a great defensive end in the draft. Definitely edge rusher, but I'm looking to talk about the draft because the Bucs are still in it, being at 5 and 6.
Who's going to be at number 32 anyway?
And reset button needs to be near I like that. Mars finger there, Nick. Let's go out to Sean. I'm not high on Britt. I don't think he's anything in his position now, but he isn't bad at stopping the run. So take Britt, replace JTS. So look for a linebacker. Let Britt try and show pass rush and run stuffer. Just my thoughts that somebody's having a good time getting jiggy with it, as you would say here. Do you like that? That guy was lit, as the kids would say. And favorable head coach and Josh McDaniels, offensive coordinator. I'm going to get on this. Final thoughts. Bucs win 30-7. They play the Carolina Panthers next. Hopefully, we will be back here live at Fergs.
We'll be here.
Right here,
yes,
giving you all your best Bucs coverage when it comes to a pregame show.
Will you be here?
Yes.
That's it.
Yes, to come down here.
Will you be here calling in?
Yes. Enjoy. And enjoying the pregame show, enjoying the halftime show, enjoying the postgame show, calling in and doing what we always do here. Again, like and subscribe to the Sports Web on YouTube.
I just kissed this mic. It's seen more lips than Mick Jagger's toothbrush. Tonight there's been people all over. And I went in here.
Like and subscribe to the Sports Web on YouTube. Friend me on Facebook at Peter H. Blake. For the great Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy, I'm your host, Peter Blake. Bucs win 30-7 to move to 5 and 6. Carolina next. 3 things. You know them. You love them. You got to have them. Even that drunk woman didn't know it, but he's going to know it now. Bring your passion. Bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I'm your host, Peter Blake, your Rolex reporter. What time is it? It's my time. And for fans of the Sports Web and the Tampa Bay sports fan, it's your time. We'll see you next time on the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Again, live here from Fergs.
Seiko reporter out.